Welcome to IC Yap, Young Adults Podcast.
Hey, welcome to Young Adults Podcast, where we will be talking about mental health's grip on young adults. Almost 50% of young adults report suffering with their mental health. We want to open up the room to talk about what it's like for young adults to live through and live happily with a mental health diagnosis. We want to talk to experts, teens, college students, their doctors, and members in our community to get a better understanding of mental health in young adults. Come join us.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Gabi.
And I'm James.
And we're here to talk about some societal pressures today.
Yes, we are. Would you like to kick it off, or should I?
I don't know. I mean, sure, I can start. There are so many pressures that we feel as young adults, and I mean, everyone has such different, unique experiences. But on the other hand, like, we all kind of feel those pressures from society to like be perfect and have it all figured out like as soon as you graduate high school, but we never have it all figured out, and even when we think we do, we don't, because you never know what's gonna happen in life. So we're kind of just here to tell you that you're not alone if you feel like overwhelmed, or if you feel like you don't have it all figured out, or if you feel this overwhelming pressure to be perfect, or whatever you may feel. Yeah,
it is totally normal to feel overwhelmed and anxious about all this stuff, because I feel like society has sort of a one-size-fits-all attitude. Like, you go to high school, you take hard classes, you get good grades, you graduate, you go to college, you get a degree, and you start a career, as whatever you went to school to be. But the reality is that's not possible. It's not realistic for a lot of people, especially, if you have a mental illness,
right.
And you're dealing with all that. When I was in high school, I followed that path. I worked really hard. I got good grades. I took the AP classes and all that. And I was preparing to go to college and get a degree. I have no idea what I was going to get a degree, and I hadn't thought that far ahead. But then, mental illness happened, and my schizophrenia symptoms got really, really bad, and I had to drop out of high school when I was a senior. And I did get my GED that summer, so that was good. But again, like, you can make all these plans, and people can tell you like, oh, this is what you need to do. But again, like, stuff happens, and it's just not realistic for everybody,
Right, and you never know what is going to happen in the future, so it's almost like not smart to like plan so far ahead, because like odds are the future you're planning is probably not going to happen, so you might as well think about what you're doing day to day and what makes you happy in the moment and what makes the most sense for you and your mental health today and tomorrow, and maybe just in the next coming week, whatever feels most comfortable for you. And that's not to say that, it's not still important to like think about the future. Like, yeah, thinking about the future is natural. Everyone is going to do it. But try not to like have your entire life planned out and like be set on whatever future you have in your head, because you never know what's going to happen. And you might not even enjoy the things that you enjoy today in a year.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's perfectly okay to just take life one day at a time and do your best, and your best can look different from day to day. Again, you don't have to follow society's idea of what society's ideal idea, whatever, of what, what you need to do. There's definitely also that pressure as you become a young adult to become more self-sufficient. Becoming more self-sufficient is great. But for most people, I feel like, as soon as you turn 18, you're not going to be, making a lot of money and able to live on your own and managing all of your own stuff. Well, I've become more independent, definitely, since high school. I've grown up a lot since then. And I'd love at some point to be able to live on my own. But right now, that's not realistic at all. And yeah, so
It's kind of crazy how, like, I feel like as the years go by, like, society's pressure to be self-sufficient get more and more intense, but at the same time, we, like, are taught less and less, like, practical skills, which makes no sense to me, because somehow we're supposed to have it all figured out and know how to take care of ourselves and know how to file taxes and do all of these adult things. But, like, how are we supposed to know these things?
They didn't teach us that stuff in high school.
I know nothing, and I learned nothing in high school that, like, could actually help me in the real world.
I learned about the freaking Pythagorean theorem.
Right.
Like, who cares? When am I ever going to need to know this?
Exactly.
I need to know how to file taxes and
Right.
open a bank account.
Yeah.
I don't need to know the Pythagorean theorem or all the, yeah.
Right. It makes no sense. Or, like, I just feel like classes in high school should have been a lot more practical. Like, I don't know, like, how to speak in front of a crowd, or, like, how to write, like, an email to someone important, or, like, things that, like, we actually now do in the real world versus, like, calculus. When am I ever going to use calculus?
Right.
Never. I'm never going to use calculus.
Yeah, as I was kind of crashing and burning and about to drop out, like, I was in, what was it, like, algebra 2, and I could not get the hang of it, but I was also just like, who cares? Like,
Right, it's just a bunch of letters. Why are there letters in math?
My life is crumbling. Like, I'm making really terrible decisions. My life is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing voices. I'm in psychosis. Like, I don't give a shit about algebra 2. Like,
Right.
I could not care less. So, yeah,
Right.
I did take in my high school. We did have to take a personal finance class sophomore year, but again, it was like 6 weeks, like an hour a day. I don't remember all that stuff. I feel like we should have gotten more of that. There should have been like 5 levels of personal finance, because we talked about a lot of stuff other than just money. But you know what I mean? Like, there should have been more of that, more practical classes in general.
For sure.
We did have, like, wood shop in middle school. But again, I feel like that's another thing that should have continued into high school, because, like, learning a trade is such a great idea, such a great career path. You don't have to go to school for 4 years or longer.
No.
And you can pretty much start making money. Like,
Right, and I feel like now people in our generation don't even know that those jobs, like, still exist, because they're not talked about or taught anymore. People just, oh, you have to go to high school and then you go to a 4-year college and then you figure it out from there. But, like, that's not the only option, and people think the only way to make money is to do that, but that's not true.
right, you don't have to become a lawyer or a doctor.
Right.
Or, yeah. I have one of my brothers is really good with his hands. He's really into, like, making stuff out of wood and, like, doing projects and stuff. And so that sort of career, like a carpenter or something, like, he would be a phenomenal carpenter.
Yeah.
Like, and he could make good money. He doesn't really, I just think that he's the sort of person who would really benefit from, those types of classes.
For sure. And I feel like it's almost, like, shameful now to be into those types of trades.
Yeah,
which
for sure.
makes
It's ridiculous.
no sense.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Like, I feel like in high school, people were, like, looked down upon if they said that they weren't going to, like, a 4-year college.
Oh, for sure.
Which is insane.
All of the teachers were expecting everyone to at least attempt to go to a 4-year school.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why. Like, that's just not the only path in life.
No, not at all. But, like, I thought that was the only path.
Me too,
The
yeah.
only way to make money and be successful was to go to a 4-year college, and then probably even go to school after that, which, again, you don't have to do to make money. And that's insane that there's that pressure that that's the only thing you have to do.
Yeah, I was in sophomore year of high school. I took a world history class, which I really enjoyed. But the next step up in our junior year was what was called the block class. And it was a 2-hour class. It was a combination of, like, AP English and AP History.
Oh, that's cool.
And it sounds cool, doesn't it? Yeah, it was horrible. It was the worst thing ever. It was so unbelievably ridiculously hard because it was supposed to be like a college prep class, but it was absolutely ridiculous. And again, I kind of fell apart. I had a breakdown and I stopped going to that class. Anyway, and I started going to regular English class and the regular level history class. And oh my God, it was amazing. Like, it was a reasonable difficulty. In the block class, I would be up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning every night doing homework.
Yeah.
Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. And I've taken some classes at community college, and like, it was absolutely nothing like the block class. Like, I don't know what they thought they were preparing us for.
Yeah.
But
I guess with like AP classes are supposed to prepare you for college, but like my AP classes were nothing like my college classes because they just moved at such like an accelerated rate that I feel like I learned nothing.
Yeah.
Like, if I could go back, I definitely would take way less AP classes. But again, that's that pressure. Do you think you have to do all that to get into a good school?
Right, that's like the one size fits all attitude. Yeah, for sure.
You want to get into like an Ivy League college? Okay, you have to take like only AP classes.
Yeah.
Insane. Which you don't, and also you don't have to get into an Ivy League school to have a good future. I'm starting to realize that when I'm looking at like my boyfriend went to like not a terrible school, but like, you know, a much lesser school than I went to, and he's making so much more money than me because it doesn't really matter what school you go to. Like, if you know what you want to do for a career, and even if you don't, like, as long as you stay passionate and you keep working on what you want to do with your life, like, it doesn't matter what school you go to.
Yeah, just do what you want. Doing what you want is going to make you a lot happier than making a lot of money at some job that you hate.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, and again, like, we were reading the Scarlet in the block class. We were reading the Scarlet Letter, which is a good book. I enjoyed it, but we had to write this paper, and it was the most impossible thing. It's all about like archetypes in the book, and like I didn't get it. I thought it was stupid, and I tried really hard, and ultimately I just said screw it. That's when I just decided to drop that class because it was ridiculous. And I started taking this English class. Like I said, it was the regular level class, and we were reading Toni Morrison, and we started with The Bluest Eye, which was unbelievably triggering. And I was like, I can't read this. So I went and I talked to my teacher, and I was like, hey, I'm really struggling with this book. Like, it's really upsetting me, really triggering me. And she was like, oh, I got you. And she let me read a different book. And it was really cool of her. And so I ended up reading Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. And oh my God, it was one of the best books I've ever read. I wrote a paper on it, got 100% on the paper. It was like, this is what school should be like.
Yeah.
Like, I have a great teacher who's willing to work with me. And like, it's so much better for a student to feel heard and cared about. And again, like, it's not just that one size fits all. Like, we're all different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. And yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like there's almost like an assumption and like a given now that like school is not fun and it's not supposed to be fun. And that's kind of terrible because I feel like the greatest thing we have in life is learning, and there's so much information and knowledge out there, and like everyone's gonna be interested in different things, but like learning should be fun. School should be fun. I mean, obviously, yeah, there's work to it, and like there's something to be said about the value of, you know, doing homework and preparing for, you know, lectures or whatever, but like it's terrible that now, like, when I talk to like my brother who's still in high school, he's like, yeah, everyone hates going every day. Like, that's so sad, because then like what's the point? You're not gonna ever find something you're passionate about if you dread going to school and learning.
100%. Yeah, and that kind of ties into the history class that I started taking after the block class. We literally just watched movies. Every single day we watched movies, historical movies, movies about history, but we watched movies every day. And I learned a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that's how I learned the best.
Yeah,
like,
it was great. It was incredibly easy. But like, that's what I needed at that point in my life. Like, I was struggling so much with my mental health and other things that I don't necessarily want to talk about on here. Yeah. But I was really struggling, and that was so great because I could just kind of relax. I was still learning, but I could just chill. And like, I didn't dread going to that class.
Yeah.
when we could use our notes on tests. Like it was so great. And
well, because in the real world, like there's never really going to be a situation where you have to like cram all of this knowledge into your brain and then take this one exam and then forget all of it the next day, which is what school is. Like that makes no sense because that's not how it is in the real world.
Yeah.
Like you're always going to have notes and you're always going to be able to be prepared.
You're always going to have a calculator with you.
Right.
We all have phones.
Yeah.
Like,
why are we doing math on our papers? That makes no sense.
Yeah. Basically all the math you would ever actually use in the real world, you can do on your phone.
For sure.
Like, I feel like of course there are like specialized fields, obviously, where you're going to use higher level math. But for the vast majority of people, like, I don't need to know calculus or algebra 2. Like, algebra 1 was sufficient. I'm good.
I wish school taught us like how to use like Excel and like the things that like actually
PowerPoint, Excel.
And, like,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why schools these days aren't really teaching you what I now use like day to day in the real world.
I'm not trying to say like school is terrible in general, but I do think that there's an issue with, again, that one size fits all attitude and pressuring students, down that one narrow path.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, going back to societal pressures, besides just like the societal pressure to like be successful and have a successful life down that one size fits all path, there's also, a lot of pressure to like look a certain way, which I feel like is a big issue these days now with social media.
Instagram.
Yeah, especially Instagram, and I fall victim to this all the time. And like, we hear it all the time and we say it all the time, like, oh, everything on there is fake, like it's not real, whatever. But like that doesn't stop me from obsessing over people's pictures and videos.
Yeah.
Like, even though I know that it's all fake, I know it's not real, like I can't help myself, like especially now that I'm getting more into like working out and going to the gym and stuff, like Instagram is too smart, and now it's like my entire feed because I'm interacting with this content, and now like all I can think about is these girls who like I want to look like, and like, oh, I need to work harder in the gym to look like them, and I need to do all these things, and like I feel this overwhelming, crushing pressure that I should be, working out for 2 hours a day and eating a certain way so I can look the way I want.
Totally know what you're talking about. Well, first of all, I went cold turkey on Instagram. Like, I just stopped completely, and it's been so nice. I do still use Snapchat, but it's not quite as toxic.
Yeah.
It's still pretty bad. I love Jason Kelsey is voted world's sexiest man, and he's a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I love that so much, that he's not some 4% body fat, shredded, perfect jawline dude. Like, he's like a realistic guy.
Yeah.
And that's so cool to me. Because again, like I have like a similar body type to that. It's like that's really, really great. So.
Yeah, that's true. I hope we're moving in a more, body positive, realistic direction, but I don't know.
I think we are, slowly but surely. I don't know. I hope so. Because, yeah, I mean, again, like all those pictures on Instagram and Snapchat, like they're these girls and guys, like they're posing, they're editing their photos, like
For sure. We're getting cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, exactly. So I honestly, again, just like going cold turkey, I feel like my body image has been so much better when I mean, it's been a process to like totally quit that stuff. And again, like I said, I still use Snapchat, but I really just like talk to my brother on there. I don't really pay attention to like people's photos.
No, that's awesome that you've done that, and I really should do that. But I feel like if I wasn't on Instagram, then I would feel that.
You'd be like missing out.
Yeah, I would feel like I'm left out of this like social circle or whatever, which is also not great.
Well, I totally get what you're saying. I think since my suicide attempt, I've had a totally different outlook on that sort of thing. Like, I don't really hang out with people anymore. I wouldn't say I've become more introverted, but I just really value like my alone time and just doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so again, like not using Instagram especially, or Snapchat constantly, like it's been pretty cathartic, I would say. again, just doing what I want to do. Like, I get really anxious hanging out with people. I don't really enjoy it anymore. So yeah, I guess just cutting down on social media and
Yeah.
yeah, it's
totally,
been
I feel
good.
like there's also a pressure to like have a million friends and have like a booming social life or whatever. But that also is so silly, you know, even if you just have one person who you love hanging out with or who makes you comfortable, or if you're just happy being on your own, like that's totally fine. I feel like no one is, I mean, there shouldn't be like that standard that you have to have like a massive social
friend
circle
group
in order to be happy, because that's not true.
I'm super tight with my family. Yeah, I'm really tight with my family, my mom, dad, my brothers. And honestly, like, coming here once a week, coming to the clubhouse, like this is all the social activity I could take for the week. Like when I leave, like I love coming here, and I feel like I've made a lot of friends, but like when I get home, I'm just exhausted. Like I am totally drained. So
believe me, I get it. Working here, I go home every day like so wiped because I have to be social every single minute that I'm here, which like I am an extrovert and I love talking to people. I love interacting with different people every day, but it is exhausting. No matter who you are, socializing for large quantities of time is exhausting.
Yeah, definitely.
And you have to know how to take care of yourself at the end of the day, which I guess now we can maybe move into some coping skills and how to deal with societal pressures, because that is extremely important. And not to say that we have it figured out, at least I definitely don't.
No, I don't either. Definitely not.
But I mean, I feel like the biggest thing you can do is just take care of yourself and figure out those things that are able to lower your stress levels, and then doing those as much as you can.
Self-care, self-love, just taking it one day at a time. As far as like anxiety goes, I talked about this in our young adult group, but if you're like having a severe anxiety attack and you just stick your head in a bucket of ice water, it is shockingly effective for relieving that anxiety. I personally have started spacing out my anxiety meds throughout the day instead of just taking them as soon as I wake up, and then they wear off after a few hours, and I was like, okay, well now what? So at 4 o'clock I take. I'm not taking more. I'm separating them. So like I take a fourth of my pill at 4 o'clock, fourth of my pill at 6 o'clock, fourth of my pill at 7 o'clock, fourth of my pill at 10 o'clock, or wow, I messed that up.
No, okay. I get it.
I take a med I take one med when I first get up, then 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So I space it out, and that's really helped with my anxiety throughout the day. Because again, like I said, if you take it all as soon as you wake up, I mean, this might work for some people, but for me, if I were to take it all when I first wake up, after 3-4 hours, like it's worn off and I'm anxious again. So
I totally get that. When I was on antidepressants, I remember I would take it before school, like as soon as I got up. So I don't know, like 6:30 or something. And then I remember by like 9 p.m., it was just like all of a sudden just like a low, and I couldn't do anything. And like in high school, like that was when I really needed to like get stuff done and do homework, but I just felt so awful. And now I don't take them anymore, but I like, because of that, I've now conditioned myself that now like every night I have like a low, and like it's terrible. And I don't know where I'm going with this, but I empathize with you.
Yeah. I've also found playing a video game can really take your mind off whatever you're anxious about, because you're so focused on it. I mean, you're using your hands and your eyes and your brain to focus on this one thing. It's a great distraction. It really can be. It might not be for everybody, but for me, it's incredibly effective.
Yeah, I don't play a ton of video games, but I like watching a TV show or a movie and also like doing something while I'm watching.
Yeah, that's the same sort of thing. That's the same kind of idea.
Like I don't know, doodling or doing a puzzle, or like playing a game on my phone, or doing something with my hands to like keep my brain busy. It definitely helps.
Yeah, for sure.
What are other coping skills you like to use?
Exercise is great. I bike every day pretty much. Today's a rest day, but yeah, I like to bike at least I don't need to get into numbers, but I do like to bike. That's really nice. Just exercise in general. I'm disabled. I can't really go out. I can't like go for a walk, but I have found that I can bike long distances. So that's nice. So I ride a stationary bike indoors, and then when it's nice outside, I will also ride my bike outdoors. And I bike with my mom sometimes. So yeah, no, the exercise in general is great. Again, if you can't exercise, which some people can't, well, those other methods, distractions, and like I said, spacing out your meds can really help. I mean, obviously, talk to your doctor first, but yeah.
Yeah, that's like the only way I could survive this job is I go to the gym after work every single day and I like let all my stress out. It's so nice. And then I go home exhausted and I get in bed. But yeah, exercise is great. Listening to music is great.
Listening to music's very good. Yeah.
It helps me
Forgot
a lot.
about
that. Sometimes like I'll be listening to music in the car, and even when I get home, I'll just sit in the car for a while and just listen to music. Helps me.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I take the long way home and do the exact same thing.
Yeah. But also, yeah, leaning on your support systems, no matter who that may be. Sometimes you don't realize that the people around you are going through similar things or have gone through similar things to you. And, all it takes is someone saying, like, oh, I get what you're going through. That can help so much. Even if, that doesn't change your situation, but just knowing that you're not alone feels like some of that weight is lifted off of your shoulders.
Yeah. And for anxiety, for me especially, like, I'm really close with my mom, and she helps me with all of my mental health stuff, my meds, doctor's appointments, everything like that. If I'm really anxious about something, I will go to her and I'll just like verbalize like what I'm anxious about. And just a lot of the time what I'm anxious about is so silly. Like it makes absolutely no sense, but my brain is like, "Arr."
Yeah.
And it's the brain goblin.
For sure.
But so I'll go to my mom and I'll just verbalize what I'm anxious about, and just hearing it out loud, it's like, that's so dumb. Like, I'm just going to stop being anxious about this because like, this is ridiculous. And so basically, she'll basically just say what I just said. She's like, dude, like, got nothing to be anxious about. Like, this is not a thing, if you know what I mean. But again, just verbalizing it, getting it out there is like, okay, like, yes, I'm anxious, but this is just dumb. Like, and to a certain extent that can help. It may not help every time, but just verbalizing what you're anxious about, I think, is very helpful.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times you can almost like convince your brain that like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times anxiety, at least to me, just feels like a lot of heightened emotions that are like all mixed together, and I'm not even really sure like what I'm feeling.
Exactly.
But yeah, sometimes as soon as you like verbalize it and are able to like think through what you're feeling, it sometimes helps a lot because you're able to separate those emotions and work through them separately.
Yep. Totally agree.
All right. Well, as we said in the beginning, you're not alone. Even though we don't know who's listening to this, we are here for you. Try not to let society dictate your life, because everyone's lives are unique and different, and everyone is passionate about different things, and try to just focus on what makes you happy and what brings you joy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. See you guys in the next episode. Have a lovely day.
Peace.
Yeah.